This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Come on. Why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Life with CIDP can be tough, but the Thrive Team, a specialized squad of experts, helps people living with CIDP make more room in their lives for joy. Watch Rare, Well Done.
An all-new reality series, Rare Well Done, offers help and hope to people across the country who live with the rare disease CIDP. Watch the latest episode now, exclusively on rarewelldone.com.
Minnesota, get ready for an unforgettable night. ZZ Top is bringing their legendary sound to the Ledge Amphitheater, the Rock Sound, June 12th, and you could be there. Check out our contest page for a chance to win tickets, KFAN.com. Keyword Contest Center.
All right, hour number 2 of the Friday Football East. Dave Sinykin in for PA. Brett Blakemore running the show, and very happy to have Alec Lewis in studio for the next couple of segments before he heads down to Eagan for some rookie mini camp weekend.
It's electric. How are you? Thanks for having me. No PA, so I don't have to. I mean, in between segments, these conversations in between segments with this guy, I mean, it's some special stuff.
Yeah.
But no, good to see you. Thanks for having me. I'll be out at the facility for rookie minicamp at 1. Players will talk at 2:30. I think Kevin O'Connell's going to talk today. So you never know. You see some drills, running backs hopping over cones, and you learn everything. So looking forward to it.
I want to get to that in just a minute. I know you were at Target Center last night. You're writing something for The Athletic. As a real Wolves guy, like Johnny Athletic 2.0. I love it.
No, I'd say Johnny Athletic 0.5.
All right, whatever it is.
No,
you get to spread your wings a little bit.
It's cool. I mean, I credit John for allowing me. He knows I love hoops. And I just enjoy being in the arena for the atmosphere, like it's been obviously the first 2 games, and then. It's always fun to write some different stuff, challenge yourself in that different way. It's not your original expertise. Can you write something that's interesting? It's a fun challenge for me, but these games have been odd. I mean, obviously game 1, it was like, what
is that?
Like, what was how could you come out looking like this? And then last night, I mean, truthfully, with the Warriors offense looking how it is without Steph Curry, it's just, I mean, they're cycling in guys that you've never heard of. Santos, Braxton Key, I know from...
I've never heard of that guy.
Braxton Key played at Alabama, and then he transferred to Virginia. So, I've known Braxton Key, but, he should be nowhere near an NBA playoff game. And there were points during the game where it was like, this kind of feels like the preseason. It feels like the Warriors really don't have a shot. But it's... going to be interesting to see what happens in the Bay and if the Warriors can keep it close offensively, because if they can't, it's hard to fathom the Wolves not moving on, which is exciting for everybody around here.
Well, it is, and what we say is it's been a storyline all season. The Wolves seem to play up or down to their competition, and when they know that the stars aren't there, they tend to let their foot off the gas, which in the playoffs you obviously cannot do. And a team still has Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, a couple guys who are going to be Hall of Famers that know how to win this time of year. So you cannot say, well, there's number 30 looking nice and dapper. Don't have to worry about him. So we got this. They have to know they're in for it.
Yeah, and Jimmy, it was interesting to watch him last night because it felt like the first half, it was just pure energy conservation for him in a way to where it felt like he knew if it was close in the second half, then he would need the juice to kind of take over. And it felt like, I don't know what Brandon Pajemski shot last night. I had the stat sheet in my hand. I probably should have looked, but it felt like he had one of the best games he could ever have. And offensively, it was still as brutal as it was for them. So, Steve Kerr, honestly, it was like, okay, what do I have for the rest of the series? I've got 14 guys on the bench who can play. Pat Spencer, whose backstory I did not know.
Yeah, crazy story.
Absolutely, just wild. As someone who loves these stories and certain guys, I was like, holy cow, that's unbelievable.
Lacrosse superstar.
Yeah, and last night, the way he played, you almost wonder, should he have stuck with... No, I'm kidding.
I don't even remember him at Northwestern, and I watch a lot of Big Ten basketball. I don't remember Pat Spencer his 1 year after lacrosse moving to basketball and playing in the Big Ten. Don't remember him at all.
I didn't know the story, and I was like, after game one, because he hit this right-handed runner in game one off the glass, and I was like, what even?
Like a half hook?
Yeah. I remember looking at, I was sitting next to Vince Goodwill of Yahoo Sports, and it was just like, our eyes were just bulging of what just happened. But I was sitting in my apartment after the game, just reading about Pat Spencer, this is unbelievable. And then last night, I no longer do I need to dive deep in Pat Spencer. But the other thing that I would say is I expected coming into last night and just sitting there watching shoot around or just the pregame work. I thought there was no in between for Anthony Edwards. Either game two he was going to go off and have one of those games we would remember, or he was going to, try as hard as he possibly could and struggle. And I felt like it was more of an in between game for him. So I just kind of expect, whether it's game 3 or game 4 in the Bay, one of these nights, him to kind of have the magnetism that he has had in these playoffs thus far. It just kind of has been lacking the first 2 games. So that was kind of interesting to me, but I'll be watching.
I hope his ankle's okay. Because it was banged up before, and then we saw Trace Jackson Davis step on it. And as I talked about earlier, how many times this season have we seen him look like he's dead and then come back after halftime looking like, I'm fine, just took a shower, I'm good.
And I watch a lot of these games, I will say that. But I'm in group text with friends here, and it'll be once a week you'll get a text oh no.
Right.
It's did something, I'm texting my friends, is everything okay? And it's Anthony, he went down and then he's right back. So yeah, that one felt different. Mm-hmm. And I talked to John Krasinski after the game and I asked him, what did you think? But it was just the way, not only the way he stayed down and held the knee, but really the way they walked him off the court. And even Chris Finch said he didn't expect him to be back in the game. Right. So I don't know what kind of body work, they did in the back. I don't know what kind of preparations he does every day, but elite athletes. And Chris Finch said this. I thought it was a great point. I don't know if we give enough credit to elite athletes. To be an elite athlete, one of the advantages of that is ability to recover and his ability to remain healthy for long periods of time. We've seen it from LeBron forever, but to compare it to LeBron is saying something.
Well, you're right. And we talked about this is Curry's first muscle injury in his career. He's another one of those great athletes. He may not look like it. We know he's a shooter. He's a great athlete too. If you just watch a game and just focus on Steph, he must run 20 miles in a game. He doesn't stop moving.
It's unbelievable. And I've probably seen him in person once before. I think years ago, I went to an Atlanta Hawks Warriors game, but to watch him move off the ball, which is what you just mentioned. It is fighting through contact. It's sprinting. It's head faking. The 2 things with Steph that go unheralded is, for me, the strength to be able to fight through the contact, yep, but also just the aptitude of knowing where to be at all times. And the more I watch sports up close, and it's football, it's basketball, it's everything, but basketball clarifies it for me. Is the guy's ability to process quickly on the floor, like those who can do that best, it's such an underrated aspect of the greatest who've ever done it. And I just am reminded of that every time I'm that close to the action like that.
And it really is a shame that he's not playing. I mean, yes, as Wolves fans, cool, we have an easier chance to get past the Warriors. But nobody wants. I mean, I miss seeing him out there. I mean, how many more years are we going to see Steph? And he does things we've never seen before. And it was poignant when you saw his reaction to Ant on the floor. Like, he wasn't thinking, okay, we're even. He was thinking, oh, damn, I hope he's okay. Because everybody wants the best to be out there. And we're missing something, not seeing how the Wolves could attack and adapt to this team with their best player out there.
And the adversity that they obviously faced after game one, but you enter game two with Steph. It is, you always say it's like pressure brings out the best in people. So it would be, it is unfortunate that we don't get to see him, or we won't for the next week or whatever it is, maybe more. I mean, hamstrings, hamstrings are just so tough. And I mean, like, it's like an oblique in baseball, but guys want to come back quick, but you really can't do anything, and then you test it out, and you're always rolling the dice. So I hope we get to see. I hope it's a game 6. I mean, I know Wolves fans probably hope it's over in 5, and that would be fine too. Like I've said it on the radio here with PA. Like this is one of my favorite times of year when you have a team in this town in the playoffs playing every other day. People are looking forward to the games. Like when the Wild and Wolves were both in it, I love that. So the longer this goes on, the more fun it is. And I guess the selfish part of it is maybe I get to be in the building for some of these games to watch. I mean, what you hope is a special magical run.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it takes me back to the Garnett era, 25 years ago, last time we experienced this. And that's when Trent and I were doing Wolves After Dark in 01 through 04, where, all right, for the first few years, it was one and done. But it was the first time this team had been in the playoffs, and the excitement around town was off the charts. And it was just, whether we were doing the show in the cage or we would do it at GameWorks, Block E across the street, you felt the electricity. And, more often than not, Flip Saunders, he'd call himself Phil from Plymouth. He'd call us on his way home, just driving home back to the western suburbs. And it was just, everybody was loving that. And, of course, in 03-04, our last year doing the show, was the year they got to the Western Conference Finals. And, nothing prepared me for what that Target Center was like for that year with Sacramento's in for a Game 7. It was insane. And we've had to wait a generation to get that again. And now we hope we're at the beginning of this run. But again, we hope that. We don't know that, right? I mean, any team that looks like they're about to enter this beautiful window of playoff opportunities, Milwaukee got their ring, but that was it for them. It was a one and done for that group. This group looks like it's just getting started. So that's why it's so fun to get that back here.
And I mean, Nickeil Alexander-Walker last night at the podium, I mean, he just said, he's like, you can't take any of these games for granted because you never know which one is going to, be the one that ends it all. And like, I mean, you don't want to, I don't want to dramatize it, but really, like, you can't take these rides for granted. And I consider that when I'm walking in the arena, but also when I'm talking with friends and how much passion they have right now for this team and what they can accomplish. Yeah. Like it's why you do it. It's why it's so fun. It's why, I mean, thinking about the Vikings and what's possible this fall. It's why, I mean, it's the amount of passion is as cool as it is because, of what's, the accomplishments are just, it's something this town has wanted for a long, long time.
It's been a bit of a drought.
Yeah,
yes, a bit of a championship drought. Yeah. And now, in particular, his future's in doubt. He's a free agent, and we all want him back. There's going to be some teams that are going to be willing to throw some money at him. So for him in particular, he's probably looking at it like, am I going to be a part of this group? And part of it's up to him, maybe. It depends how much money he wants to take. But I could see it being more poignant for him, knowing this might be it for me here.
Yeah, there's no question. And he, I mean, one thing, and I haven't, I'm not around the team every day, but the one thing I do know is just having spent time in that vicinity, he is a very aware guy. He's to a point at which it probably can be debilitating at times. You're so aware, thinking about kind of the, factors and everything that encompasses struggles or bad shooting nights and all of that, both from what it means for this specific team and what it means for the future of his career. Right. But it is a, I'm constantly impressed when I see, Naz Reid come off the bench and do what he does. It's like, I don't know what he's shooting for from three in these playoffs. I don't know, but it feels like every time he shoots, I think it's going in. And then, you just go down the list of some of the bench guys. John wrote about this at The Athletic, this morning, but I sometimes, when I'm in the arena, I'll just kind of watch people on the bench. And I've done this the first two games here with Mike Conley. And I just watch him, the energy and what people will never see of the coaches are conferring after the timeout, and they're conferring before talking to the team. Mike Conley is the one, like he's literally looks like a coach talking to the entire team sitting on the bench. And it's those conversations of different guys who aren't Anthony Edwards, who aren't Julius Randle scoring 20 and grabbing 11 rebounds and assisting 7 times, who the makeup of this team beyond the stars is fascinating to me, because you have so many types of players like a Naz, like Mike Conley, who play these different roles. And I give them credit for constructing it in that way.
Yeah, it's a really well put together team, fun team, balanced team. And having a guy like Conley and his experience is invaluable, especially when your most talented players are as young as they are that haven't been through it. All right, let's pause here, switch our attention to football. Rookie minicamp coming up, schedule coming out, your recent piece on the 5 potential next candidates for extensions. I want to dive all into that in one Power Pack segment. Alec Lewis in studio. He's back with us right after these.
The Fan and BigTech.com going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks to their national cash contest. Head to KFAN.com. Enter the keyword check. The keyword check, KFAN.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Now I'd like to introduce you to Meaningful Beauty, the famed skincare brand created by iconic supermodel Cindy Crawford. It's her secret to absolutely gorgeous skin. Meaningful Beauty makes powerful and effective skincare simple, and it's loved by millions of women. It's formulated for all ages and all skin tones and types, and it's designed to work as a complete skincare system, leaving your skin feeling soft, smooth, and nourished. I recommend starting with Cindy's full regimen, which contains all 5 of her best-selling products, including the amazing youth-activating Melon Serum. This next-generation serum has the power of melon leaf stem cell technology. It's melon leaf stem cells encapsulated for freshness and released onto the skin to support a visible reduction in the appearance of wrinkles. With thousands of glowing 5-star reviews, why not give it a try? Subscribe today and you can get the amazing Meaningful Beauty system for just $49.95. That includes our introductory 5-piece system, free gifts, free shipping, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. All of that available at meaningfulbeauty.com.
Hi, this is Javon, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep. I'm here to help with everything from selecting the perfect window treatments to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
No problem. We make the complex simple. I can even help schedule a professional measure and install.
I didn't realize you did that.
We can also send you samples fast and free.
Wow. I always thought I needed a designer to come to my home, but scheduling's always a nightmare.
Not with Blinds.com. We're on your schedule. And there's no haggling, pressure, or hidden fees either.
I just might have to do more.
Whatever you need. How about you tell me what you had in mind?
Okay, then. So the first room we're looking at is for guests coming over, and I'm thinking of something...
Blinds.com has covered over 25 million windows, all backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com now and save up to 40% site-wide. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Keyword. Get ready to kick off the 2025 season with your 2024 UFA champion Minnesota Wind Chill. Catch a game with our own Eric Nordquist Saturday, May 17th at Seafoam Stadium. For the first 1,000 fans receiving Wind Chill 2024 UFA Championship T-shirts. Get all the details today, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
We're back 10:20 on a Friday morning. Sinykin in for PA. Brett Blakemore, Alec Lewis in studio for another segment. There's football to talk about. There are going to be players in Egan. Well, they're there now, and they'll be practicing today. That's fun. It's off season. We got that little week between draft and schedule release for us fans, and Viking fans get to read about all the undrafted guys that have joined the drafted class. And who are you going to have your eyes on today when you're out there?
Max Brosmer, come on, Minnesota guy. I mean, it's going to be electric to watch him play.
He could be the number one quarterback. They haven't named one yet. The job is open.
That would be wild. Donovan Jackson, to see him in person, I think I'll start there. That's the most low hanging fruit possible. The UDFAs are often my fascination. Why? I don't know. Maybe I'm insane. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, we've seen some guys hit, obviously.
Yeah, Ivan Pace Jr., you knew pretty quickly that this defensive staff believed that he could be a roster player and could contribute for them. And so, I just always have my eye at, and Brian Flores has said many times in the past, in his press conference, once you're here, we don't care how you got here.
Yeah.
It is about what you show from this point forward. And a lot of coaches probably say that, but I know that Brian Flores actually believes that. And so whether it's, an offensive lineman, like Joe Huber from Wisconsin, who's this wrestling background, kind of, pass protecting guy, whether it's, Tyler Batty, this defensive lineman from BYU whose father is a cowboy. There are a lot of players. Zamiah Vaughn, cornerback from Utah. I could rattle guys off who I will be looking for with a roster sheet out there that I'll be interested in. But I mean, it's everything. It's how Ty Felton moves around at receiver. It's just cool it'll be great to be back out in this phenomenal weather.
Yeah.
Watching ball and, catching up with some of the coaches and all that stuff. But, I'm looking forward to it. But for me, it's always the unheralded players who have a chance with really interesting stories is usually where my mind, wanders.
Well, it's interesting because you've got a Super Bowl caliber roster from top to bottom. So you think, well, if you're an undrafted free agent, how many spots will there be for me on a team like this? But it's a year where we know they only had 5 draft picks. So there has to be an opportunity for youth. You can't just expect to contend and compete year after year, loading up free agent classes. You've got to get younger and have young talent developing. So the 9, 10, 11, 12 guys that are coming in today, they have to feel like I've landed in a spot with a short draft class where they might give me an extra look.
And these players and their agents are very these undrafted players. And the whole undrafted process, no one really talks about. Why would you? I mean, it's not going to generate headlines, right. And so it's not going to generate clicks, entertainment, and if people aren't turning the dial to listen to undrafted talk. But it's really college recruitment. I mean, that's what it becomes, where the teams are pitching agents and players on why their team is the best opportunity for them. And these players and the agents do pretty in-depth studies in terms of, like, what is the cornerback depth of this team? What is the offensive line depth? What is the opportunity on the interior defensive line? And also, it's what, how does this organization treat players? And it's the combination of all of that is why the Vikings have used this as a tool, and they've had to, because to your point, drafting young players has not been the forte of Kwesi Adofo-Mensah.
Not so far.
Since 2022. But I've said this publicly many times. You look at any research on the draft, Kwesi has to hit. So this is not me taking but a 3-year sample of what you do in the draft oftentimes is not sticky for what's going to happen in the next 3 years. Like Brad Holmes' success, if it continues in Detroit, he is bucking trends by that being the case. And so with Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, you would believe that the variance would kind of turn the tide. Now, it's harder to do that when you only have 5 picks, but the hope would be that you supplement it with undrafted players who now are probably more talented than ever because you have guys staying in college for 7 years. And so you get more of a build-up in terms of kind of the late round talent. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see, like, can undrafted guys at edge push Bo Richter and Gabe Murphy, who were undrafted guys who made the team last year. Like, the one thing I would say, just looking at this roster in total, it is so much deeper than it's been the last few years. Like, I used to put together these roster projections because my editors mandate them multiple times a year. And it's often like, how do I make this interesting and different? Because the players who are going to make this team are pretty obvious. And now with this specific roster, I have a much harder time penciling in 53 players. And to me, that just speaks about the depth it speaks to the depth that's interesting.
How many undrafted guys will be out there today? How many did they sign? 12?
I believe they announced 20.
Oh, really? They signed 20?
Yes, I believe so. When they sent the initial release, so it's a ton of guys. One guy I didn't mention, Silas Bolden was a returner at Oregon State, then Texas, and the Vikings. It's been a while since they've had a dynamic returner that strikes fear in the opposing team, and he's potentially that type of guy. Depending on Rondale Moore's health, maybe he's competing for that spot. I forgot they had Rondale Moore. Yeah, maybe he's competing for that spot at some point. But yeah, they signed 20 guys, and I expect them to be others out there who are just rookie camp contributors. Like, there's a very interesting name for me that I will be looking for at the roster sheet to see if he's out there is Tommy Hill. He was
Nebraska.
Cornerback from Nebraska. Played really, really well this past season. To start the year, I think Travis Hunter at Colorado said he was one of the toughest cornerbacks he had to go up against in college. Wow. Tommy Hill struggled mightily down the back half of the season. There was injuries. There was much more than injuries. And so he didn't get drafted. The Vikings haven't announced him as an undrafted signing, but it sounds like he might have a rookie camp invite. I haven't been able to confirm that. So when I get out there, knowing the type of talent that guy is, he's another one that I'll be looking to watch. But it's going to be a lot of guys out there.
Alec Lewis in studio with us, covers the Vikes, of course, for The Athletic. I've had some fun in my snarky way with the fact that the Vikings have not officially named J.J. McCarthy the number 1 quarterback on the 9th day of May, 2025. I don't know. It just seems weird. Like, what are they afraid of? Like, are they afraid to put that into his head that he's won the job without going through a training camp? I just feel like, read the room. Okay, they brought in Sam Howell. He has started some games. But what are we afraid of? Why are we just anointing JJ and saying it's his job to lose? If he's number 1 today, it doesn't mean he's number 1 week 1. But that just... Where are you with that? I'm sure that's something you've talked about, heard from fans about. Where do you stand on that deal?
Yeah, it's Kevin O'Connell was on the Rich Eisen show this past week, and Rich asked him kind of like, is he going to be competing? Is JJ going to be competing with Sam Howell? And Kevin kind of made you said snarky. Kevin kind of made a snarky comment about like, he's taking snaps from Ryan Kelly, so take it for what it's worth. Mm-hmm. What I would say is this. This is the way I'm thinking about this. Kevin O'Connell his passion, his baby, the thing he cares about most is quarterback development. And in any development process, in anything, is being anointed, having not proving or earned something, is that optimal for development? And you might say, well, he has proved it. He was a number 10 pick. He performed last year. And so I get those arguments. But for me, the way I put this in perspective is it's like a baseball prospect who is just raking in AA and raking in AAA. And the fans are, why are we bringing him up? It's like, well, the people internally have to be, the players in the clubhouse already. The staff has to be, this guy has to be banging down the door to where that player proves and has proven and earned that he is worthy of the opportunity. And once he does that, he can feel even more confident with that opportunity. So I think about this very similar to that. Okay. JJ McCarthy is going to get the most reps with the starters. Like he's going to get probably all the starters reps throughout this entire summer, and into the fall. And as long as he proves it every day, both with his play on the field and his professionalism off the field, then he will be that guy. And to, leave the carrot out there continues to, if you would hope that it would continue to push him every single day as hard as he possibly can to attain the job that everybody in this town and everybody in the organization wants him to attain. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of how, if you're Kevin O'Connell, you want to maximize his development. And just handing him the job, in Kevin's mind, I don't think, does that. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, and I feel like as long as this goes this way, I can envision Brett Rippon in my mind pacing back and forth in his living room going, so you're telling me there's a chance. So you got that going for the backups that still believe, well, they haven't said he's won, so as far as I know, I have a chance. Rumors, Arif Hassan tweeted yesterday that he's hearing back-to-back international games for your Vikings. How do you feel about potentially 4, 5, 6 days in Dublin, then you hop over to the UK and play in London for a week? Have you heard any steam about this? I would think outside of a Jacksonville team that plays back-to-back in London, I don't think a team's ever been asked to play 2 international games back-to-back. What have you heard, if anything?
Yeah, I've heard this for a while. I think I did a podcast maybe, I don't know, like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and I made this comment probably where it was like, the Vikings could be in London and could be something, or Dublin, and could be, more than that. So I've definitely heard it. I haven't confirmed it with the powers that be, so I haven't put it out there. Yep. But how do I feel about it? It would be, to spend 2 weeks in September, October in Dublin and London as opposed to Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Not bad. Strikes
my ears well, especially if I have to pay for the flight to be over there. But, it would be very interesting. When the Vikings have gone to London over the past, they've gone twice, obviously, since Kevin O'Connell became the coach here. They beat the Saints in 2022. They beat the Jets last year. They have gone like 2 days before, 3 days before. They haven't gone to get acclimated to that time zone. So for me, it would be a different kind of process. Probably you probably couldn't fly over 2 days before and then fly back on a Monday and then fly back. How that would affect kind of their process, their approach. That would be interesting to me. What the bye week that early would mean for a team that's older and having to play a lot of games down the back half of the season.
So you would probably take the bye the week after that.
You would imagine. Now, right. I don't know that. I don't know that for a fact, but that to me would be interesting. And I will say this, the Vikings they really value growing their brand over there. Last year, before the London game, the Vikings organization brought it was close to 10 media members who are big time media members in London over to the United States to the Vikings facility and had them tell stories about certain players for newspapers in London. The Vikings they have a great fan base over there already. And they've done a lot to try to continue to grow it. And so if you're telling them that you can have away games over there where they have a great fan base, and the players have always loved going over there and playing. I could see them being up for it, which is why it's made sense to me.
Well, and also the byproduct of that, if they play weeks 4 and 5 overseas, you got to believe at least 2 of their first 3 games are at home. So maybe you have a home opener with, if by then JJ is anointed the number 1 quarterback, be nice to a soft landing spot to open up his career with 2 or 3 home games right off the bat at US Bank.
It would be nice. Now, I will say, week 1 could be not, I wouldn't call it a soft landing spot. It might be a thrown right into the,
what do you got?
The iron of the fire. All I'm going to say is it would be interesting to see an NFC North matchup in prime time in week 1. It would be crazy if that would be the case.
Would it be a game perhaps that Brett and I would be very interested in?
I don't know about that.
Oh.
I don't know about that.
More of a Lions thing.
I don't know about that. But I would say, I mean, from the way this thing sets up, I mean, it could be, as I said earlier.
So you're telling me Lions week 1, Sunday Night Football, US Bank Stadium?
No. Here's the thing. The aggregators are going to be all over this. All I'm saying is it would be a very entertaining week 1. And I said kind of at the top, like, I can sense the fan base's energy, passion, excitement for this upcoming fall. And if it goes the way it sounds like it could go from the beginning, it's gonna be a good time.
Schedule release is like Christmas in May for a lot of us. I
love how they put an announcement for an announcement.
It's unbelievable. Only the NFL can get away with that. And for us Packer fans, I've got my Hotels.com app open, during the day, because generally the whole schedule is leaked during the day. Like none of us have to wait if you're able to watch X. The schedule leaks. So as soon as I see like a home game for Green Bay, I'm booking a hotel knowing that there's a 20%. I usually go to 1 or 2 games. If I don't make that reservation that day, I'll be lucky to stay in Shawano. Lucky. And they're jacking up the rates anyway. But yeah, it's a big day next week. It's fun, and you're giving us a reason to get extra excited about how they shake things out to start the season. That'll be fun.
Goodell can hit me with a Venmo for assisting him in the excitement. But no, Green Bay is always the first trip I'll book Green Bay before London.
Yeah,
because I want to be. I don't want to be staying in wherever middle of the Wisconsin where I've got to drive an hour and a half. But no, it's
Wausau not cutting it for you.
Apparently not.
Wausau, yeah, no.
Oshkosh is underrated.
No, it's nothing against Oshkosh or Wausau. I'm sure the people there are great.
I'm sure Tyrese Halliburton's hometown.
Look, I can get a spotted cow in either place, and so and cheese curd, I'll be satisfied. But no, I mean this schedule is going to be for the Vikings specifically. I mean, like the over under right now for Minnesota. It looks like it's like around 8.5 pretty much everywhere. And part of that is the uncertainty at quarterback, obviously. But it's also, this schedule, the Ravens are going to be here. The Eagles are going to be here. They go to LA to play the Chargers, a team that's gotten better. A lot
of great quarterbacks on the schedule this year.
Right. And that's like Brian Flores' defense has been so good over the last couple of years. They've been really, really good against teams with quarterbacks that you just do not trust at all. And so the challenge, like the one, I've said many times, this Viking season will hinge on 2 things. J.J. McCarthy, obviously, and then the health and durability of a lot of players who are older and some of them with injury risk in the past. But the third little addendum that I've started to add is, can you really expect this Brian Flores defense to be as effective as they've been the last couple of years? And the answer to that might be, Alec, yes, absolutely. They added Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, and they're younger at corner. So definitely and Dallas Turner's coming on. So 100%. But what they've done over the past 2 years is very hard to replicate. So that's another aspect of this team that is going to be worth just eyeing all the way into the season.
Well, enjoy the weekend. You get to watch some actual football players for a day or so. Thanks for coming in and spending some time with us. It's always fun. And we'll look forward to reading your reports on what you see this weekend.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys having me. Sorry to, I hope I didn't rain on the parade of Packers-Vikings week 1.
No, it's all good. I'd rather wait until December, quite frankly. I want a cold weather game this year, finally. Great seeing you. Have a good weekend. Up next, Alan Horton, voice of the Timberwolves, joins Dane Moore in studio, the 11 o'clock hour, halfway through on a Friday Football East
Now I'd like to introduce you to Meaningful Beauty, the famed skincare brand created by iconic supermodel Cindy Crawford. It's her secret to absolutely gorgeous skin. Meaningful Beauty makes powerful and effective skincare simple, and it's loved by millions of women. It's formulated for all ages and all skin tones and types, and it's designed to work as a complete skincare system, leaving your skin feeling soft, smooth, and nourished. I recommend starting with Cindy's full regimen, which contains all 5 of her best-selling products, including the amazing youth-activating Melon Serum. This next-generation serum has the power of melon leaf stem cell technology. It's melon leaf stem cells encapsulated for freshness and released onto the skin to support a visible reduction in the appearance of wrinkles. With thousands of glowing 5-star reviews, why not give it a try? Subscribe today and you can get the amazing Meaningful Beauty system for just $49.95. That includes our introductory 5-piece system, free gifts, free shipping, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. All of that available at meaningfulbeauty.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hi, this is Javon, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep. I'm here to help with everything from selecting the perfect window treatments to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
No problem. We make the complex simple. I can even help schedule a professional measure and install.
I didn't realize you did that.
We can also send you samples fast and free.
Wow. I always thought I needed a designer to come to my home, but scheduling's always a nightmare.
Not with Blinds.com. We're on your schedule. And there's no haggling, pressure, or hidden fees either.
I just might have to do more.
Whatever you need. How about you tell me what you had in mind?
Okay, then. So the first room we're looking at is for guests coming over, and I'm thinking of something...
Blinds.com has covered over 25 million windows, all backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com now and save up to 40% site-wide. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Fan.
Get ready to cheer on your Minnesota Frost as they look to repeat as PWHL champions. Tickets available now for Game 3 this Sunday at Xcel Energy Center. You can get all the details and your tickets now at KFAN.com /calendar. But lucky caller 11 right now will win your way in with a pair of tickets. Call now 1-800-320-5326. That is 1-800-320-5326. Good luck.
Back at 10:45, went a little long with Alec. I don't want to short shrift the voice of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who is kind enough to join us now on the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline. Alan Horton joins the program the morning after. The Timberwolves not up the best of 7 with the Warriors with a 25-point win at Target Center. Alan, good morning. A 13-0 start was exactly what the doctor ordered last night.
Yeah, Dave, it's great to be on with you. And as Brett told you on the weather update, it's a beautiful sunny morning. And after the way the Wolves played last night, you're looking at kind of a brighter future with this series tied 1-1. And the way they played last night, you're right. That start was everything. It was a lead that it's just fascinating to me. And I told Jim Peterson this during the broadcast last night. the difference between playing with a lead in a game and having to come from behind all game. The difference, the comfort level you have out there, the margin for error you have out there, everything is better when you've got that lead. There's no better way to build that lead than right off the bat setting the tone, and they kind of rode that to a really good night.
Yeah, despite that 13-0 start, the next few minutes it got a little sloggy, and I don't know. Yes, it was a 15-point lead after one quarter, but I don't know. It kind of felt like it could have been so much more. I know you can't make every shot, but there were turnovers. There were just missed opportunities, and I couldn't escape the feeling like, is this going to be one of those nights where they play with their food for 48 minutes and we sweat? And it only was for a moment there, but they couldn't seem to just keep the foot on the throat there in the first quarter. It allowed Golden State to feel like, all right, we're going to throw some different guys in because the lead's not too terrible. I don't know. Were you at all throughout that first quarter concerned that it wasn't a little easier than it could have been?
A little bit there in the first, and I would say again in the third when Golden State got it to 7, and the Wolves kind of had a slow start to the second half. And you're kind of thinking, man, they've really been the more dominant team in this game, and it's only a 7-point game. Is this a game where Golden State has just managed to hang around and is going to all of a sudden put a run together and make this a game down the stretch? But the Wolves, they may have bent a little bit, but they didn't break, and that 7-point lead that got trimmed to 7 quickly went back up to 22 with a dominant rest of the third quarter and into the fourth to really put that game away.
What's so encouraging about watching a game like last night, when Anthony is still, not quite the Anthony, at least offensively, though, is certainly better than game one, and we'll talk about him in a moment. When Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels can pick up the slack on both ends of the floor, but particularly offensively, Jaden's 7 for 10, and it felt like whenever he had the ball in his hands and he was going to the basket, you just felt good about what was going to happen. And Randle, throughout these playoffs, I think has been the MVP. Both of those guys faced a lot of question marks heading into this postseason. Randle for his history. McDaniels, can you be the guy worth the salary and be the big top 3 of this team? Both are answering all those questions, it feels like, on a nightly basis.
Yeah, let's start with Jaden. I think he's a real bellwether for how he goes. I think the Timberwolves go, because if he's being productive, if he's getting you some steals and blocks and he's scoring, his 3-point shot has not been as consistent this year, so it's really been him, attacking inside and using that length to get his shot off inside. I think this is a second straight series where Jaden has felt like, I don't really have to worry too much about getting my shot blocked because I'm one of the tallest guys out here when I put the ball up high and shoot it in the painted area. So when Jaden is contributing like that, then that balances out what and Julius, who's just had a monster postseason. He's been terrific. And I think what we've learned, Dave, is that, Julius's game may be better suited for the postseason than it is like a regular season where it's more pace and space. And, his game is not bully ball in the regular season. That's not what the league is about in the postseason. Boy, his style has really worked well when there are not quite as many calls. It's dialed up defensively, and you're struggling to generate an open shot. You really rely on the type of physical type play that he brings, banging away inside, creating some space, and getting to the free throw line a ton and knocking down shots in the paint. So both Julius and Jaden, I think, have been really good in this postseason.
Yeah, Randle just looks so comfortable now with this team. Like he really understands what's being asked of him and what he can do to get everybody around him playing better. We know going into most series, the Wolves bench is going to have an advantage against the opposition. Now, I'm guessing you had to go pretty deep into your prep sheet last night when Steve Kerr is rolling out all 14 available players in the first half. That's something I've never seen. I don't know if it's ever been done. Meanwhile, the Wolves bench delivered exactly as you had hoped after a really bad game one offensively. All 3 of those guys made at least 3 threes. They were 10 for 22 combined, as I'm sure you know. And when they get that kind of production from those 3 guys, they are going to win most games they play.
Yeah, you're right. They out deep teams. Their talent level 1 through 8 is as good or better than any team in the league. And it was good to see both Dante and Nikhil get their 3-point stroke going. I mean, those 2 combined were 7 of 14. And both of them had really struggled in the postseason, not just in game 1, not just in a couple of games against the Lakers. It's really been the entire postseason. So for those guys to get on track, I think everybody realized that the shooting numbers from deep over the last 2 games were kind of an aberration. I was a little more concerned that really the Wolves haven't shot the ball well from deep since game 2 of the Lakers series, only 25% heading into last night. and then they respond with 16 made threes. They shoot 43%. That's high volume. That's high efficiency. That's what we saw more in the regular season. So I think this was a return to norm. And one of the things, even though the Wolves were missing shots the last two games, they were just 12 of 76 in Game 5 against the Lakers, Game 1 against the Warriors. 38 of those 76 shots were categorized as wide open threes, so not a defender within 6 feet. Those are the shots you work hard to create. 50% of those shots were wide open threes. So it's not the shot attempts that I think Chris Finch was upset about. You love to be able to generate half of your threes as wide open shots. It's just a matter of knocking them down. And if you continue to generate those wide open looks, eventually there'll be a regression to the norm. And the norm for the Wolves is 40% on wide open threes. Top 10 team in the NBA in wide open 3-point shooting this year. And so you continue to do those type of things, you're eventually going to knock down those shots. And when it was everybody up and down the lineup, I mean, 7 of the 8 guys hit threes. The only guy who didn't was Rudy, who doesn't shoot threes. So you got contributions from everybody. They responded in Game 2 in a big way.
We're talking with Alan Horton, the radio voice of your Minnesota Timberwolves, who has seen time and time again this season Anthony Edwards go down, clutching some part of his body in absolute agony, heading to the tunnel. We all sit through halftime wondering if he'll ever play again. And then there he is out in pregame or halftime shooting shots, testing whatever part of his body hurts, and there he is playing. What went through your mind last night when you saw him go down? And I'm going to guess you weren't real surprised he came back, but it's remarkable how many times we've seen that happen to him this season.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's happened multiple times in prior years as well. And this one, I was a little bit more concerned. This one, Jim and I kind of broke down, and you looked at the replay, and this looked really bad because Ant lands after driving for a shot, and Trace Jackson Davis comes down on Ant's foot, and it looked bad. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen the replay. This one looked a little more serious than some of the other ones.
Yep.
And the way he couldn't put any weight on it, and he went right back up sort of the visitors' tunnel, didn't even go to the Wolves' tunnel. That was not a great sign. But this guy, when it comes to, I think Chris Finch touched on this post game that when it comes to athleticism, we judge that by what we see on the floor and his flying dunks and his acrobatic plays, but also it's your ability to recover from things too. And I think we're now at a point where we have enough of a sample size that Ant's done this so many times that I think his athleticism somehow translates to not having a serious injury. He's just such a freak athlete in an incredible way that he's able to overcome these things. Now, it'll be interesting to see how he feels today, how he feels tomorrow heading into Game 3. I'm sure that's one reason why he didn't come off the floor until he came off of the floor in the fourth. They rested. He went off for about 90 seconds, then came back on because I think he wanted to keep playing.
Yeah.
But then quickly came off again when Chris Finch emptied the bench. But they didn't want to take him out at any point until that one was decided because I think it would have. I'm no athletic trainer, but it's obviously going to tighten up when you go to the bench. And so I think they wanted to try to get him out there leave him out there as long as possible to assure the win, and then get him off and start to focus in on Game 3.
It's been odd kind of watching him offensively going back to Game 5 in L.A. He's not shooting as many jumpers. He's not shooting as many threes. And when he goes to the basket, he's not finishing. It's I don't know if the ankle has bothered him because he did bang it up in Game 4 against L.A., if he's not got the explosiveness, if he doesn't trust the ankle completely. But what do you make of his offensive game the last few games, how different it's looked from what we've seen all season?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the ankle might be it's not slowing him down from getting to the rim and doing all the things that you have to do to get to the cup. And so often, you see him make these moves, and that looks like the hard part. It looks like the easy part is the finishing, which he missed 7 shots at the rim in Game 1. I don't know what the final numbers were from Game 2, but I think he missed at least 5 more shots at the rim. Just not being able to finish there. He is drawing contact. He's getting to the free throw line a little bit. But I don't know if I put my finger on anything specific as to why. I just think, he's got that ability to finish. We've seen that for sure. It's just not happening right now. And, he often, doesn't get the kind of whistle. There's always the debate about whether Ant's trying to avoid contact to get the shot off or he's going through contact. Guys who go through contact tend to get the whistle a little bit more. But Ant's such a freak athlete, like I mentioned. He's got this amazing ability to sort of avoid defenders. And sometimes that makes the shot more difficult, and you're not going through the contact and drawing that whistle probably as consistently as he would like.
All right, so the series shifts to San Francisco. You're, I suppose, heading on a plane, tomorrow out to the Bay Area? Is that correct?
This afternoon.
Oh, today. All right, very nice. Got a little extra time out there.
Yep.
All right, games 3 and 4 in San Francisco, Saturday night, Monday night.
Yeah.
I would say the Wolves are going to have to play better than they did last night. I understand, no Steph Curry, and that changes everything. But are you of the opinion that Game 3 is going to be difficult? That atmosphere, that team, we know how hard they play. We know how they stand behind their defense. That doesn't go away despite not having the world's greatest shooter on their team. What are your thoughts about where this team is right now, how they're playing, and certainly the order of business doing no worse than winning back home court advantage when they head out to San Francisco?
Well, I think the biggest question going into Game 2 for me was, could Golden State continue to play the way they played when Steph Curry went down in Game 1? For the final 2.5 quarters, they played exceptionally well. Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, that was their three-headed monster with Steph Curry out. And it was a very similar question to what I have about the Lakers after their Game 2 win over the Wolves, when they played so well defensively, put so much effort out there. They were all over the place. My question was, could they continue that? And the answer clearly was no. At least after one game, the answer to whether Golden State can play at the same level was also no. Now, the Wolves had something to do with that for sure, but I think the ball is back in Golden State's court. I think they have to answer in Game 3. They did not look the same without Steph Curry. It's interesting. Jimmy Butler, obviously becomes their main guy with Steph Curry out, but as we know, Dave, from his year plus with the Wolves, that's not Jimmy's nature. It's not in his DNA to think scoring first. He is a playmaker. He can rebound. He will set guys up. Even when he gets mismatches inside, he's likely going to pass out before looking to take advantage and score on that. And what I think Golden State really needs is for him to become a scorer when that's not his natural, basketball DNA. And so I think the Warriors have a lot of questions to answer. I think Steve Kerr, he used so many guys off his bench because I think he's searching for what his lineup is going to be later in the series, or even starting in Game 3 and 4 and going on without Curry. Who can he rely on? Because I think he's got to pare that down. You just can't. He did this early in the season. That's one of the reasons Golden State got off to a 12-3 start to the season. They were playing routinely 11 and 12 guys, unbelievable depth. But eventually, that you just can't sustain that because guys aren't getting the consistent time they need to do what they do so well. You have 1 3-minute bad stretch, and all of a sudden someone else is coming in, and you're not seeing the floor again. But I think Kerr may have found something in Jonathan Kuminga and Trace Jackson-Davis. Those guys were there basically only production off the bench. Those guys, I think, are going to be part of the rotation. They've got to kind of narrow things down. But I think it'll be interesting to me to see if how they answer in Game 3. I think the Wolves played well enough in Game 2 where if they do play that same level, I still think they can win in Game 3. I think they answered a lot of questions. They cleaned up a couple of things defensively. They were better on the defensive glass. Remember, Golden State had 18 offensive rebounds in Game 1. They only had 10 in Game 2, and the Wolves were much more active at the three-point line. The Golden State was not as effective. They only had half their number of threes, 18-9 in Game 2. And I thought the Wolves really solved some things offensively because that's a really good Golden State defense. And instead of, I thought in Game 1 the Wolves were aggressive. They had drives and kickouts, but the drive and kickout led to a shot. And sometimes you need the drive and then the pass, which I thought we saw more of in Game 2, and that led to more open shots. And sometimes it takes multiple drives. Against a good defense, you got to work really hard to generate good shots. And I thought the Wolves adjusted after seeing what Golden State did in Game 1. And I think part of the struggles in Game 1 was the fact the Wolves saw the Laker defense for 5 games.
Yeah.
And that was a big adjustment going from what the Lakers did defensively to what Golden State does. I mean, they have the number one defense since the trade deadline, since they acquired Jimmy. And when Draymond's focused on the right things like he was in Game 1, boy, he can still get it done. There's a reason why he was a Defensive Player of the Year. His basketball IQ is through the roof. It comes with a lot of other baggage that we saw last night.
Yep.
But when he focuses it on the game, he is perfect for that system. So is Jimmy Butler. They can be dangerous. But if you do the right things offensively, I think the Wolves showed that they can find holes in that defense. I mean, they shot 51%. Their offensive rating was through the roof after their worst offensive outing of the season in Game 1. So a lot of good things happened last night.
We'll look forward to your call, Games 3 and 4 out in San Francisco before you come home for a Game 5, which we know we will have one way or the other Wednesday night. Safe travels, my friend. Keep up the great work, and we'll listen to you tomorrow night on The Fan.
Dave, sounds great. I appreciate it, man. All the best.
Alan Horton, you of course hear his coverage on Wolves basketball, the longtime voice of the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll pause here. Top of the hour break, final hour. Dane Moore of the Dane Moore podcast joins in studio. More Wolves and NBA for our final hour on a Friday Football East on The Fan.
Hey, Janice Torres here.
And I'm Austin Hankwitz.
We're the hosts of Mind the Business Small Business Success Stories, produced by Ruby Studio and Intuit QuickBooks. Catch up on seasons 1 and 2 and join us for a brand new season of the podcast as we talk to small business owners about how they manage and grow their businesses with the help of platforms like Intuit QuickBooks.
Listen to Mind the Business Small Business Success Stories on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com. ODOO.com.
It's almost Mother's Day, and you can now get anything you need delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. So no, you can't order a relaxing shower, but some beautiful flowers, you bet we deliver those. A bird bath? No. A bath bomb? Absolutely. It's no to a chocolate lab, but yes to some chocolate truffles. So whether it's a last-minute gift for Mother's Day, fresh groceries, or food from your favorite restaurants, get it delivered today with Uber Eats. Order now. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you, you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.